Hello there. I just wanted to talk to you today, just a little bit about Liverpool, just Liverpool in general, and just wanted to I wanted to kick off the discussions of Liverpool over the international break. Obviously, it's the international break, so there's not going to be any games for a little while, and our next game is Manchester United. And I'm going to go over a couple of things. This isn't scripted whatsoever. And I'm going to look at some options for Liverpool. How can they turn things around in terms of attack? And I think that is going to be my main focus. How can we turn things around in attack? Because we can't really turn things around in defence, in my opinion. We've got to look forward and look at the Manchester United game that's going to be coming up, but also to take into account the games that we've just had as well. So, as I said, it's not going to be scripted. It's just going to be going kind of a little bit off the cuff. But I like doing that sometimes, or I like doing it most of the time, to be fair. It gives me a little bit of a chance to just let my thoughts flow, and whether those thoughts are good or not, you'll be able to tell me in the comments below. But yeah, we've got to start this discussion about what can Liverpool do when the Premier League starts again. What can we do to either get ourselves back on track? What track are we actually going to be on? What are we trying to achieve this season? Because I'm still not entirely sure. We're knocked out of one cup competition already, so there's one piece of silverware down already. And, it's one of those things. We've still got the FA Cup to participate in, depending on what we do in it. We're still technically in the Champions League, but we're making it so difficult for ourselves in all areas. And now we're making the Premier League difficult as well. And it's not fun viewing for a Liverpool fan, for many Liverpool fans as well. I don't think it's fun viewing for any Liverpool fan, if we're being honest. I don't think there's any Liverpool fan as positive as you can be about our club, and we love our club, we do. I just don't think there's anybody that can be that positive to be able to say we're on the right track right now, because we're not. I think you have to say that we're not, and I'm not saying anything that's brand new information to anybody. It's obvious if you're on social media. If you're not on social media, well done. I sometimes wish I wasn't. But hey, that's another subject for another time, for another video. Maybe. Hey, we never know. Let's look at let's look at Liverpool, how we set up against Newcastle. And I still think, despite what Jurgen Klopp said about letting him off the leash from the start of the game, I still think it's a mistake to be trying to start Daniel Sturridge. If you're going to rest Firmino, Daniel Sturridge isn't the person to bring on anymore as a starter. Sometimes, in my opinion, even as a sub. I genuinely do think that Sturridge's time at Liverpool is at an end, and we're only playing him because we're struggling to score goals at the moment, and people are really wanting to yearn for the fact that he had a great substitute appearance in a couple of games. He looks really, really sharp as a sub. He looks really, really sharp as a sub because he's only got 15, 20 minutes worth of work to do. He doesn't have to work for like 70, 80 minutes, maybe even a full game sometimes. He doesn't have to work for that long. So when you take a 70-minute performance or a 70, 80-minute expected performance and you smush that down into 15, 20 minutes, hell, even 10 minutes, of course he's going to look sharp because he's going to be using all of that energy that he would normally expend over a longer amount of time in a very short amount of time. That's why he looks electric. That's why he looks like he can score goals, and yet he still doesn't as a sub. So they're thinking, right, we're going to let him off the leash from the start of the game, and you still know that yes, he's still got quality. But I think Carragher actually summed it up very, very well. In the positions that he got in against Newcastle, and hell, even in against Moscow in the Champions League, that one that he ballooned over the bar, he turns around and he says, if that's Lukaku, it's a goal. If it's Kane, it's a goal. If it's Morata, it's a goal. If it's Sturridge, it isn't. That's the harsh reality. And I'm one of these. I'm certainly not a big fan of how I purposely don't watch match build-up on a Super Sunday, or if it's on Sky at all, and Jamie Carragher is the guy that's going to be in the booth, or if he's commentating or whatever. I don't watch pre-match build-up because I can't take the amount of negativity that Carragher gives. Now, obviously, Carragher is a former Liverpool player and club legend as well, obviously, no doubt. He's more than entitled to his opinion. But it's very, very rare that you ever hear him say anything good about Liverpool, even when we've played well. And it's just like he's waiting. He's really wanting to show how unbiased he is by burying Liverpool at every opportunity almost. And I just don't watch pre-match build-up or even I switch it when it goes to half-time, and if we're 1-1 or if we're losing a game, I switch it off and then switch it back on when we kick off. Literally, that is literally what it's like, because it's just a barrel. We know it's negative. We know it's negative all round right now. And especially when it comes to our forwards. Now, one of the things that people always say, Liverpool's defence. Liverpool's defence is awful, but we can sometimes dig ourselves out with our attack. Now, our attack is starting to falter. It is. It's starting to falter. Without Coutinho's screamer against Newcastle, we'd have lost that game. That is reality as well. So we have to take all of that into account as well. You've got to take that into account in the Champions League game as well against Moscow. If we didn't have Coutinho in there doing the nice little combination work that he did with Mane that day, we'd have lost that game. Imagine how negative that would have been if we'd lost both of those games. Now, we drew those games, and that's not a positive. That's not necessarily a positive in my opinion. It's not the biggest negative, but it is a negative. And I'm not saying that we should be brushing aside these teams, because that's not really... Liverpool can do it, we can do it, and we've shown that we can do it in the past. But we're not doing it right now. And we're not in a position right now where we're not the kind of team that can, go and take a 1-0. Like, say, Man United against Southampton. It might have been a week or so ago. And I think it was there was only one goal in that game. But that's what they can do. And other teams can do it as well. Bloody hell, I think Burnley can do it as well. They did it against Everton. Now, Everton aren't looking very good, but that's another, that's another subject for another day. But it's one of those things. We're not able to just go 1-0 up and keep it there. We can't do that. We invite pressure on ourselves, and we can't take that pressure. So as soon as it goes 1-1 against Newcastle, all they had to do, and they're obviously coached by Rafa Benitez, and we know all about Benitez. Once they go 1-1, they don't have to come out and do anything, because they're quite happy. If they can nick the win, that's an added bonus. But if they get a draw against Liverpool, that's okay, that's fine. That's not too bad for Newcastle. For us, supposedly we're in the Champions League, and we're wanting to get back into the top 4 and make sure we stay there, and that should be our aim, in my opinion. We can't do that. We don't have a good enough defence. We don't have good enough goalkeepers, plural. We don't have good enough goalkeepers. We really don't. So we have to rely. It's like Kevin Keegan at Newcastle. We have to rely on the fact that we sometimes can outscore our opponents. Apart from when that doesn't happen. And there were elements of it against Newcastle, elements of it against Moscow. Mane, Salah, they're not pulling the trigger anymore, and you can feel the anxiousness coming into their attacks. Early on in the game, they'll start quite fast, and they'll get up the pitch and they'll get some opportunities. But as soon as those opportunities don't start going in, the anxiousness creeps in, and they, instead of going for goal, they'll turn back and look for a pass backwards, sideways, around the box, to the other side of the pitch. They're looking for other ways to try and create, but you can sense that they're anxious about taking on opportunities. So how do you solve something like that? Very difficult, to be fair. It is very, very difficult. Now, there are a couple of options, and these are the options that I was talking about at the start of the video. Daniel Sturridge is not an option, in my opinion. I think Liverpool have made a mistake in letting Divock Origi go out on loan and not maybe doing something with Daniel Sturridge, maybe moving him on somewhere else and letting Divock Origi, a young 21-year-old striker, come in and get an opportunity, maybe alongside Dominic Solanke, alongside Firmino as well. But now there's a lot of pressure on Firmino, who we've been seeing as our go-to striker, who isn't technically still a striker. He's been playing in that position because his work rate keeps him there, and sometimes he scores some good goals. He's got good link-up play across the front three. It's just difficult, though, when it's not happening for Firmino. We've seen what he can do in the Hoffenheim games, in the Champions League playoff games. He can be a very key player. He can be brilliant. He can be fantastic. just like any of our front three can be, and Coutinho included as well. He's the one that's keeping us afloat right now, and we are lucky to have kept hold of him now. But when that's not working, the options that we have are a little bit limited in some ways. Now, I've mentioned before, one of the options that I'll talk about is playing either Sadio Mane or Salah as a striker. Yes, it means that you lose them from out wide, but you've still got some other options. And I've said about Markovic in the past, if you're going to include him in your squad for the year, use him. If he's just there to make up the numbers, what's the point? Seriously. Now, people keep saying, obviously, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, we got him. No. Still not a signing I was ever excited about. And obviously one that's going to come back to haunt us, I sorely believe. I think this could be probably maybe a worse transfer than Andy Carroll to us. At least Andy Carroll scored a good couple of goals. He contributed. Oxlade-Chamberlain right now, he's still on the bench and he's still generally playing out wide. So, I mean, he's not got what he wants, and we're kind of getting what Arsenal were telling us that we were going to get, like Arsenal fans and such like that. So, yeah, we kind of made a joke of ourselves there. 40 million or whatever it was for Oxlade-Chamberlain, and someone like Lacazette was £12 million more. Wow. Because if you put Lacazette in this team, and the chances that we've created lately, and the type of striker that he is, we create most of our chances in and around the penalty box. Come on. When we were linked to Lacazette in the summer, I really hoped that it would come off. And when he went to Arsenal, I was genuinely gutted. Because he will come good. He's been scoring for Arsenal anyway. He is doing good. But he will get better. And I think we missed one there. I really do. I think we've missed a trick there. That could have been your perfect replacement for Daniel Sturridge. Could have been. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. We can't keep going on about that sort of stuff. So maybe playing Mane, Salah down the middle, bring in someone like Markovic, you keep your pace out wide, or, revelation, why not stick Robertson at left back, put Moreno on left wing, Salah can still be on the other one, or Mane can still be on the other wing, and then you've got the pace through the middle as well. And if you really want the pace through the midfield, yeah, you could maybe use Oxlade-Chamberlain and see what he's like in that centre mid position. That's an option. What's the other options that we've got? You can stick with Firmino, but why not change that system, put two up top and put him with Dominic Solanke? I've been going on about Solanke for so long that people are really starting to wonder who he is, because they're not seeing enough of him. I speak to people at work the other day, yesterday even, and they're saying Solanke, that guy, he comes on. When he comes on, he gets 10 minutes, 5 minutes or something like that at the end of a game, but he looks electric. And it's not like how Daniel Sturridge looks electric. The guy looks hungry. He wants to prove himself, that he's snatching at chances, but he's getting better chances than most of our forwards have got in the rest of the game. He's a young guy. He's not Marcus Rashford, but look at that guy. He took his opportunity, and he takes his opportunity every single time he gets on the pitch. And now he's pretty much, if he's not starting, he's definitely going to be coming on for Man United. And that's Rashford. He's about the same age as Dominic Solanke. Solanke's a big forward. He's been tipped to be a little bit of like a combination of Harry Kane and Teddy Sheringham. Two great finishers, two brilliant finishers. You don't get player of the tournament for the Under-20s World Cup and be part of the winning team that won the Under-20s World Cup, the first cup of that kind that we've won since '66. He's a part of that, and he was the player of the tournament. Yes, it's different age brackets, different competition, but you've got to give the guy a chance. You have to give the guy a chance. Give him a shot. With all the creativity, with the guys that we've got, Mane, Salah, Coutinho, give him a shot. Put someone up there with him. Change the system a little bit. Go two up top. Or do what they did, this is where you could get also a little bit of a reinvigoration from Firmino. Put Solanke in front of Firmino, and Firmino sits in just behind. Then you could have three behind those guys. So then you would have, say, either Mane, Coutinho in the middle, and then Salah on the right-hand side. And then you can still do whatever you want to do. You can still put a midfielder behind those guys, like Henderson, Emre Can, something like that. Yes, you're going to lose a little bit of solidity if you go with that formation. I think that's looking like a 4-1-3-1. Not really a conventional whatever. You know, and obviously I've missed players there. I'm just thinking out loud right now. But that could be an option. You still keep the creativity behind those guys. You could still get the best out of Firmino, like he was at Hoffenheim when he was creating so many chances, scoring as well. And you could also be giving someone like Solanke a chance. For me, it's got to be tried. I'm not saying whether we try it against Man United, but it's something different has to be tried. Because what we're doing right now isn't working. We're scoring like one goal. We're creating loads and loads of chances, stupid amounts of chances, and we can't put them away. Something has to change. You've got to bring people in that are going to maybe bring a bit of freshness, bit of fresh air to the squad, to the team. I think that's what we've got to be looking at doing. Otherwise, you're just going to see exactly the same. Week in, week out, we create chances, we're not going to be able to put them away. Meanwhile, people are going to, like, you know, when we've got, I tell you what, if we have Mkhitaryan, Martial, Rashford, Lukaku, those guys coming at us, at our defence, our goalkeeper, I'm not looking forward to that match anyway, because I never really do against Man United. If we're in form, I look forward to it, but if we're not, I really don't, because there's two ways this could go. We will get absolutely smashed by Man United, who look amazing, and I don't like saying that. Or we can come back and maybe prove people wrong a little bit, get a little bit of credibility, and get ourselves back in the top four race, whatever, something like that. And we also take out a big rival, or we at least give them a bit of a knock. But the only thing that gives me hope is that Stoke managed to score 2 goals against Man United, but I don't think anybody else has. So, I mean, there's a plus, but there's also a big negative, because we're not scoring goals right now. A lot of teams are trying and getting good chances, still can't score goals against them. We're creating chances, not necessarily the best ones, we still can't score a great deal. We've got to come up with something massive, huge, universal, the universe size, massive. That is what we've got to do. And I don't know whether we're up to it, because it just depends how stubborn Klopp is with sticking with how things are right now. If he's going to be that stubborn, we could be in for a very long season, and it, you know, people flirt with not flirt, but people are so concerned about, man, Coutinho's not going to want to be with us next season. Man, that's going to be a bummer. Can you imagine wherever we place this season? You could probably say if we finish out the top 4 and we don't at least compete for a trophy or pick one up, so say the FA Cup would probably be the more likely one now. If we don't pick something up like that and show progress, Coutinho will most likely be out the door. But then, what is the likes of Mane and Salah going to think? Emre Can, who still hasn't signed a contract as far as I'm aware. What are those guys going to think? Other key players, young players, that are vital to our system under Klopp, what are those guys going to start thinking? It's like, we're treading water a little bit here. Going to start to put the feelers out, especially someone like Mane, who's so creative, so fast, can score goals in pretty much any of the front 3 positions. You know, obviously it's not happening for him right now. Same with Salah, who's been keeping our season alive by goals and assists. Coutinho, for definite. You know, don't just think about Coutinho. Look at the other guys as well, because if all 3 of those went, and I'm talking Mane, Salah, Coutinho, it really doesn't bear thinking about. It's actually a little bit depressing thinking about it, so I'm just going to stop thinking about it and wrap the video up. Look, it's been a bit of a rambling video. I do agree with that if you're thinking that yourself, but I needed to make something like this. I didn't even realise it's nearly 20 minutes gone. And just make something like this, get my thoughts out about what I want to see, but I also want to hear what you think, or at least see what you think anyway, in the comments below. Get your comments in there and just let me know what you think. Let's start a discussion, and hopefully maybe we can get a positive when you know we've got Man United after the international break. But I don't know. I don't really see where the positives are coming from right now. But let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. If you've enjoyed the video, please drop a like on it. That would be so awesome if you could. Subscribe if you're new around here. Thank you ever so much for watching, as always. And I'll catch you later.